Brother Paul was not feeling well this morning, and pretty soon after service was over with, Carla said he went home, went straight to bed. He sent me a text this afternoon. I was mowing the middle school football field, said he still wasn't feeling any better, asked if I'd fill in for him, and turned out it was, I guess if he was going to have to notice this was the best time. I thought I had the lesson last Wednesday night. Supposed to have had it last Wednesday night on the calendar, and then Brian was supposed to have it about 3 weeks ago, but they were on vacation. But I had it in my phone that I was supposed to have it last Wednesday night. So I'd forgotten that I had traded with him 2 or 3 weeks last so when my phone went off last week, Wednesday night Devo, I better get one ready. So I was ready Wednesday night, and he walks in, and he's got the lesson. So like I said, I forgot I traded 2 or 3 weeks before and had already done it. So I actually had a lesson ready to go. So we're going to be okay, I think. So appreciate everyone being here tonight. Thank you for your presence. Now I want to talk about the blessings of discipleship. As disciples, as followers of Christ, there are certain blessings that we are able to come in contact with, things that were given by God, by Jesus, by being His followers. Now, for a lot of the religious world, they want to think that blessings of discipleship include what? Money, happiness, big cars, big houses. Follow God, love God, claim to be a Christian. He's going to bless you with all these earthly things, all these material blessings. And granted, God wants us to be happy, and in a lot of ways we're blessed greatly. Now, we may not have as much money as maybe some of these people that are on the Forbes top 100 list or whatever, but you consider how we're blessed physically as compared to some people in different parts of the world. Just a couple weeks ago, when we were in Tulsa for Coach's Clinic, we were attending the congregation there in Park Plaza, and one of their missionaries who is doing work down in Panama, he was giving an update, a presentation, and as he was doing his slideshow and you were seeing the people, brought back a lot of memories of when we went to Mexico. And you're thinking the people down there, not blessed as greatly as we are. They don't have the material blessings. You wouldn't know it. They are happy. They're thankful for what they have. And this missionary, actually even, they're working in some jungles, some very remote areas of Panama where there's some of the Native American tribes, and as primitive as can be, no running water, no electricity, living in huts, and just, so you think about it, and so we are blessed, but not in the way that a lot of people would like to think that God blesses us. Again, it's not with the material blessings, the money and all those kind of things, but there's other blessings that we should take notice of, and of course there's more than just these 5 that we want to look at tonight. But I want to focus on these 5 and understand that there's things that we have that we need to be thankful for that help us on this journey. As Paul talked about this morning, and Kevin was talking about our class. Sometimes life's not always easy. There's things that happen to us, and we kind of don't understand sometimes. But God's there for us. He's going to bless us and going to take care of us things that we need. Well, obviously, we need to make sure that we understand what the idea of a disciple is. And most of us have a pretty good grasp of that. But from Merriam-Webster.com, the definition of a disciple: one who accepts and assists in spreading the doctrine of another, such as one of the 12 in the inner circle of Christ's followers according to the gospel accounts, or a convinced adherent of a school or individual, or any other professed follower of Christ in his lifetime, or the second definition there, any follower of Christ. So thinking about the blessings of a disciple, the blessings of someone who follows Christ. And so as we think about that, and these 5, and again, there's others that we could look at, others that we can discuss, but first of all, spiritual knowledge. Second, we'll talk about the blessing of spiritual light, the guidance of the still small voice, heavenly honor that will be a blessing one day for sure, and then the blessing of a divine example. And so let's look at these quickly as we'll go through each of these 5. If we had this scripture reading tonight, we could begin in Matthew chapter 19, verses 28 through 30. It says, Jesus said to them, "Assuredly I say to you, that in the regeneration, when the Son of Man sits on the throne of His glory, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or fathers or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and inherit eternal life. But many who are first will be last, and the last first. So again, trying to understand what it is that's important. What blessing is it that's most important to us? Is it these things of this world, or is it those spiritual blessings that we want to talk about? First of all, having a spiritual knowledge, a spiritual understanding as a true disciple of Christ. If we're going to be the follower of someone or of some discipline or of some philosophy or something like that, then we need to study. We need to be familiar with whatever it is that they teach, whatever it is that's kind of the foundation of their teachings, of their doctrine. Whether we say doctrine, whether it's it could be, as a football coach, you think about some of the past coaches in professional football or in college football, and maybe it's a West Coast type of offense. Okay, think about the San Francisco 49ers, and they ran that back in the 1980s. Okay, Bill Walsh was the head coach of the 49ers, and so that West Coast offense, that was kind of something that started and caught on, and so there was coaches all over the country. Of course, they would listen to him speak at coaches' clinics, or they would buy his books or his videos, and so that would just be one example. Okay, but understanding that we have to have a good depth, a good knowledge of whatever it is, we should be striving to be as knowledgeable as we can about Jesus. We should be as knowledgeable as we can about God and having a good grasp, a good understanding of His Word. As I mentioned about 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever I did have a Wednesday night lesson, I mentioned then that I was rereading some of Michael Shank's work, Muscle and Shovel, and then When Shovels Break. And again, a lot of what he was talking about in his book was the fact that he thought he was a Christian. He knew a little bit of Bible, so he thought he knew enough, but he was just amazed at how little that he actually did know. And he was amazed at how little that people who should know, such as these denominational preachers or other people, they didn't know much either, okay? And so the important thing is that he realized, hey, I have to study. And he saw how much that Randall had studied and saw the breadth of his knowledge. It had impressed him to the point that, hey, I need to know the Bible inside out. So having that knowledge is important. If we're preparing for a test, or school's getting ready to start here in the next week or two, kids that are going back to school, it won't be long till going through that first chapter or two or whatever it is, that first unit, and getting ready to take a test. Well, hopefully they're going to study. They want to be as knowledgeable as they can. Okay? If you're going to prepare to maybe get some sort of certification, okay, or some sort of additional accreditation or whatever it may be. We had a meeting just the other day, our coaches and bus drivers. And, we're talking about how much more difficult it is now for someone to get their CDL to become a bus driver than what it was just 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It makes you bang your head against the wall because of all the studying you have to do. There's was it 130-some point inspection? You remember? Yeah, I mean, you have to go through like a 130-point inspection with the examiner. You climb under the bus and point out different things. You've got to study for that if you have any chance, any hope of passing it. And so we understand that it's important to study, to have a good grasp, to have a good knowledge of something. Well, we can have that if we're going to be a true disciple. If we're going to be a true follower, we need to know what Christ expects from us. We need to know what He wants us to do in the way that we live our lives. So we should be driven. We should be encouraged to read our Bibles, to study, and to know it as well as we can, so that we'll know that how He really wants us to live. Hosea chapter 6, verse 3 says, let us pursue the knowledge of the Lord. In 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, we're all familiar with this verse. The original King James Version says, to study to show thyself approved unto God, rightly dividing the word of truth. We cannot rightly divide the word if we don't know what God's word says. And again, going back to Michael Shank, he thought he knew some verses, and this verse said this, and this verse said that, and they could be twisted and made to support these different beliefs and different denominations and to support different doctrines and things like that. But understanding that, well, none of those verses were kind of taken out of context. Not taken out, kind of taken out, but were truly taken out of context. So whenever they were seen in the whole picture of where the verse was located, understanding the surrounding verses, it means something totally different. So having the ability to do that so we can rightly divide the word is important. Second blessing of a true disciple of Christ is having that spiritual light, having something that is kind of a goal for us to try to move toward, something that we can follow. Of course, we all understand the importance of of a lighthouse, and in that case it's kind of a warning, but that light is something that these captains of these ships, they can see, and it kind of guides them to stay away from the rocks, to stay away from danger as they're traveling through maybe a strait or through this body of water. Other people maybe in distress, maybe someone that's been out hiking or camping or something like that, gets hurt or gets lost or whatever, if they've got some type of flashlight or they've got some type of flare, some type of light, can bring those rescuers to them, can let them know where their location is at. So we all understand the importance of light. Whoever was first to the building this evening, walked back there to the back, flipped on the light switches, and turned on the light so that we can be able to see. We take that for granted. Times that we live in today, just having electricity and being able to flip that switch, we just expect, flip it, lights on, we can see. And we, again, take it for granted. When electricity goes off during a storm or power outage for whatever reason, still is habit. The lights are out, but you walk into a room and what do? You try to turn on the switch, try to turn it on, and because you can't see. Okay, you want that light so that you're not stumbling over the furniture, you're not running into something, stumping your toe, breaking your toe, running into something that you can't see. So it's important to have that light. Well, Christ provides the light that we need to maneuver our way through this light. And using other examples, you can think about maybe being in a cave, whether it's maybe at Silver Dollar City at Branson, Marble Cave, or Carlsbad Caverns. You get down in there deep into the cave and they shut out the lights and it's just pitch black, totally dark. Well, you can't see your hand in front of your face, and what happens with it is just in a few seconds. A little bit of fear, isn't it? Okay, kind of hair on the back of your neck, start standing up, and they're good. I want to be able to see again. Okay, and so there's that fear by not being able to have that light that guides us. So that light is there and it's important, but we have to follow the light. Okay, we have to use that light as our guide. Okay, we can't just see it and say, well, I'm going to go my own way. I'm going to take a different path. We have to let that light show us the path. Psalms 119, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And so allow Christ as our spiritual light to do those things for us. 8th chapter of John, verse 12. Then Jesus spoke to them again, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. Okay, so again, this idea that Christ is that guiding light for us. He's going to show us the way. Going back to the Old Testament, Isaiah chapter 60, verses 19 and 20. The sun shall no longer be your light by day, nor for brightness shall the moon give light to you. But the Lord will be to you as an everlasting light, and God your glory. Your sun shall no longer go down, nor shall your moon withdraw itself, for the Lord will be your everlasting light. So we can see these verses giving us some encouragement, understanding that there is an example there. There's a light there. Well, as having that light to help guide us, we also have the guidance of the still small voice. Christ oftentimes is referred to as shepherd, okay? The church, his disciples are his flock, and so Christ is the shepherd. Well, I've never had a lot of experience with sheep. When I was growing up, I raised hogs and showed pigs in 4-H and FFA, and raised some cows and some dairy cows from my uncle's dairy over at Sterling, and so showed them a little bit. I know one time popped off, said something to Dad about getting some sheep, and he said absolutely not. I guess he had some whenever he was younger, and he just, for whatever reason, he wasn't interested. Had several friends that had them, and all. So I thought, well, that might be kind of something different and something new, and he wasn't interested. Okay, but watching sheep, they are very, I guess, instinctive in following their master. If you got a hog out there, you usually have to drive them where you want to go. You got to kind of stay behind them and kind of guide them from the backside from behind them. Well, you can kind of walk down the alleys at a show barn or whatever, and the sheep's going to follow you. Okay, it's a little bit different situation. So these sheep, they know their master, their owner. Okay, sheep recognize the voice of their shepherd, and so when they hear that voice, they're going to respond to it. Well, in the New Testament, we're referred to, we're told that we're the sheep, and Christ is described as our shepherd. So we must heed Christ's voice as He tries to direct us. And again, through His Word, we have directions on how we're to live, and if we're going to be His followers, His disciples, as His sheep, and He is the shepherd, we have to follow His Word. John chapter 10, verse 27 says, my sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. As I said just a minute ago, you kind of see the difference between these different types of animals. Okay, the sheep will follow, and so Christ is encouraging us to do just that. And we talked about in the beginning, in the introduction, about how a lot of people think of the blessings that they should receive as Christians in kind of a material sense. And so being able to enjoy this life and to be able to have a bunch of money and to be able to buy this and that, to go do this and that, and whatever, that to them is what they're thinking about. It's difficult for many of them to imagine that that's not what's important, if there's something better that's waiting for us, okay? And that being heavenly honor. Some people just, they dream of hearing the words that maybe they've won the Publishers Clearinghouse. They was waiting for McMahon to knock on their front door. Step up on the porch. Ed McMahon, he's there to tell them that they've won the Publishers Clearinghouse. Or some people that participate in, say, the lottery. They're waiting to hear those numbers. They've got the right ones. And if they got the right numbers, they've won all this money. That's words that they're anticipating. That's what they want to hear. They don't understand that whether it's tens of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, whatever it may be, it still is going to pale in comparison to the riches that we will enjoy in heaven. And to be able to forego the things of this earth, to anticipate what is to come. And many people just simply can't do that. They can't say, okay, what's ahead? That's the most important. They want to enjoy this life. They want to get all they can from this world, and to be able to put that aside to anticipate what is coming, it's just too hard for them. Of course, there are many stories in the Bible. We think about the parable of the rich young fool. Christ told him, go and sell everything that you have and come follow me. The young man had done everything else. He lived a good life, but he could not part with those riches. He could not turn away from that wealth that he had in this world to be able to have the hope for eternal wealth and eternal fortune. Well, trying to think about here on earth, oftentimes we're recognized for different things. Many of you have received different awards. Maybe you're a part of different civic organizations. Maybe it's Lions Club or Kiwanis Club or different things like that. Maybe parts of different associations and recognized as being Teacher of the Year, or maybe Employee of the Year, or whatever it may be. Open up the local newspapers, whether it's the Gazette or the Chickasha paper, the Marlowe paper, the Duncan paper, flip through and you see pictures all the time. Someone who's being honored for some reason or another. Okay, they're being recognized for their philanthropic efforts or their charitable, whatever it may be, serving their community, serving their schools. Again, people being recognized and being honored, and that's good. That's important. Okay, and we need to do so. These people that are trying to do what they can to help others. So that's good. But again, whether it's that honor, maybe it could be the State Teacher of the Year. You could be given the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest honor that an American citizen can receive. That would be a great honor. You think about someone who serves in the military to be able to be awarded what used to be the Congressional Medal of Honor. They just call it the Medal of Honor now. That's the highest award that can be given to a serviceman or woman. Think about other awards that are recognized worldwide. Maybe it's a Nobel Prize or something like that. So there's ways that we can receive honor, that we can receive recognition. But again, nothing on earth will compare to one day being able to hear those words in the Day of Judgment. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. That's what we should want. We should want that honor that is to come rather than that honor that's here on earth. John chapter 12, verse 26. If anyone serves me, let him follow me, and where I am, there my servant will be also. If anyone serves me, my Father will honor him. Thinking about God as our Creator, the Creator of mankind, the Creator of this world, Creator of the universe, Creator of all things. Recognizing us and willing to honor us, to give us a place in heaven for eternity. It should be humbling. It should be something that we just want to strive for so greatly, to be willing to put anything and everything aside so that we can be honored in that way. Well, finally, fifth thing we'll look at tonight is a divine example. As Christians, we have the luxury of having Christ, having come to this earth, having lived on this earth. Now, we realize that He came to this earth, He lived a perfect life, a sinless life. He'll set that example for us. Now, obviously, we can't live up to that example. We all know that we sin, that we fall short of the glory of God. But by having that perfect example to try to live up to that the best we can, then we're going to have a good opportunity to be pleasing to Him. Okay? We think about the situations that He went through. The Gospels, the New Testament recounts some of the temptations that He went through. Of course, we know after He had spent some as He was about to prepare for His ministry, He's going to be faced with the temptations by Satan. Okay, those three temptations, and all three of those, he's offered, fame and notoriety and power and, wealth and all these things that a lot of people want, as we talked about just a few moments ago. Christ turned Satan aside on all three occasions. And I'm sure there were many other temptations, on a daily basis. Temptations that he felt, but he did not give in to those. Okay? So these same temptations that we may face, seeing him as an example, trying not to give in to them as well. The emotions that he went through, we know that he had emotions. You consider events like the death of Lazarus. He felt for his family. Okay, he felt compassion. He had emotion. We know that Jesus wept. He cried at this situation, knowing the heartache and the pain that they were going through, as his friends. Other emotions that are talked about there in the New Testament. Other examples, the relationships. Christ was not standoffish. Okay, here is the Son of God. Okay, here is the one and only Son of God come to this earth, and he didn't show up and say, "Okay, here I am. Bow down, worship me, serve me, honor me." Now there were situations where his disciples did just that, but that wasn't what he was about. He was about building relationships, and it wasn't just with the right crowd. He wasn't looking for those that were going to be true and follow him faithfully. He was looking for those who needed him the most. Okay? He said, doctor's not there to take care of those that are well. He's looking for those to take care of those that are sick. And so he was there to associate, to build relationships with those who were sinners and needed him. And so oftentimes he was ridiculed because of that. But we can think about that in our life. We need to be careful about having an attitude where, see this person or this group of people, and maybe I don't want to be around them because of whatever reason. Okay, and obviously we have to be careful who we associate with sometimes, so that maybe if they have some bad habits or they have some sinful habits, that they don't carry over into our lives, that they don't influence us, obviously. But we need to be willing to associate with them and to help them and to befriend them. So the relationships that he established, that's an important example. One of the greatest examples that he set for us was his obedience. Ryan, in his lesson Wednesday night, that I was supposed to be doing. No, just kidding. Kind of following on James's lesson from the week before, there in Hebrews chapter 11, and just talking about the faith that was shown by many of these Old Testament characters. And their faith was shown through what? Their obedience. Okay, thinking about Abraham, to the point of driving that knife into Isaac before he was stopped. Noah, building a boat for 100 years, and it never rained before. That's obedience. Okay, so we think about examples like that. Okay, but Christ coming to this earth, being obedient to God's plan, and being willing to give his life on the cross, being obedient to that point, being willing to sacrifice his life. A great example for us. What are we willing to sacrifice in our lives? What kind of sacrifice will our lives be for him? The service. And that kind of goes back a little bit to some of the relationships. Different situations where he was helping others, he was serving others, whether it was washing some of the disciples' feet or doing other acts of kindness. Again, are we willing to do that? And so Christ has set an example for us, a divine example. And those are just 5 areas there, of course, of this 5th example. 1 Peter chapter 2, beginning verse 21. For to this you were called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that you should follow his steps, who committed no sin, nor was deceit found in his mouth, who when he was reviled, did not revile in return. When he suffered, he did not threaten, but committed himself to him who judges righteously. We think about this passage here and kind of break it down a little bit. We understand that he did not commit sin. He was without sin. Nor was deceit found in his mouth. And that could cover any number of different things. But when he was reviled, did not revile in return. When he suffered, did not threaten. And when someone crosses us, someone ridicules us, what's our instinctive thing to do? Fight back. Okay? First thing we want to do is we want to lash out back at them. Okay? It's about getting even. It's about getting revenge. Christ wasn't about that. He was submissive. He took that ridicule as he was reviled. He accepted it. He didn't threaten back. Okay? And so understanding that example, that's important. Well, the 5 blessings of discipleship that we looked at, and again, others that could be considered, but tonight, talking about spiritual knowledge, spiritual light, guidance of the still small voice, heavenly honor, and then divine example. As we close the lesson, we've seen different ways that we can be blessed as disciples of Christ for those who are faithful and those who are true followers of Christ. As we close this evening, I want to ask the question, are you a true disciple? Are you a true follower of Christ? Are you receiving those blessings? Okay? Are you able to take advantage of these blessings? Okay? And again, it's not about the material blessings, the worldly blessings that so many people want to think is what you get as a Christian. These are the ones we talked about tonight, are the important ones, things that we realize are not just intrinsic or cheap or just, they're going to be short-lived. We're wanting lasting blessings. Thinking about that heavenly honor is one of those. If you're not a disciple of Christ, if you're not a true follower of Christ, you have an opportunity to take care of that tonight. You can be baptized, have your sins washed away. You can leave here as a child of God, a child of Christ, as a member of His church. Maybe you're already a member. Maybe you've not been recognizing the blessings that are available. You've been living your life in a way where maybe you've not been accessing those and taking advantage of those. You need to make things right, or maybe you have some other need, whatever it may be. We encourage you to come as we stand and sing.